just sounds like you're done.
I'm sure there's plenty of potheads who will correct me on this. So funny!
The following is a fan-off production.
Under 17, not admitted without parent.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Moving through the music. Every time you will hear us on the radio to prove it. This is our stance. No opinion is better. Timing is better. Guarantee we moving and we on it forever. The RBR, Fatal 4, hardcore. Lyrically everything what you start for. This is the time when you hear us on the Wednesday nights. Every truth and everything that we doing is right. Lyrically right. Feeling now every time in the soul. You hear us for, now we gonna take control. So, this is our time, moving and we got the stars. Fatal 4, RBR, yeah.
Welcome to the fantasy.
From Hells and Cells to MMA cages, if it happened in a squared circle this week, RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Hey there, folks. Welcome to RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. I'm William R. Washington. I am one member of the Fatal 4. But for the first time here on the core RBR, the flagship, in a couple weeks, the whole Fatal 4 is here. There's Paul Griffin.
Yeah.
Also here is Eric Brady.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to be back this week.
And Maxwell Baumbach.
I'm glad to be here again this week.
Well, yes. That makes two of you.
And
who was gone last week?
I was,
Paul.
Apparently.
Oh, it's like I thought it was a good show last week. Was someone missing? That makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this time, no basketball sadness tonight.
Yeah, nothing to be depressed about.
Well, sports-wise.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I was pretty much, I've said this for years on the show, people who have known me and known me as a Nuggets fan know that I've obviously never seen my team make it to a championship. However, what I tend to do is when my team gets eliminated, I start rooting for the team that eliminated them just because I don't like the loss to be for nothing. Like that year we lost to the Trailblazers, and then they went on to very quickly get eliminated the next round. That sucks. Like, I feel like if we're going to lose, I'd rather lose to the team that does it all. And last year...
What I call cuck behavior.
Yeah,
yes.
That's when I was like 10, that's how me and my friends would watch the Royal Rumble, is we'd all like get a number like 1, 2, and 3, or however many of us there were. And whoever that person was, we'd have to root for them and talk shit about the other guys. But then whoever threw your person out, then you just started rooting for them.
Yeah. Because...
So that way when it gets to the final two, you're like, I'm rooting for somebody either way now.
Yeah. Well, so for us it was... so like for the Nuggets being eliminated last year, I was like, okay, got to root for the Lakers, I guess. And then the Lakers won. So right now I'm on the Suns train, and I just want...
And but if the Suns lose, then you root for whoever knocked the Suns out.
No, I can't do that. Then it's just...
Jets or whatever. I don't
then
know.
it's just like...
Baseball.
Jets.
It's just like you completely wasted that loss. Like, I feel like if the Suns went ahead and eliminated the Nuggets, and like the Suns are doing really well. Like they've won.
I would like the Suns to win out of
Yeah.
the teams that are left.
And honestly, like that game yesterday, those last 2 minutes were insane. And I say that because when I say 2 minutes, I mean 2 clock minutes, because they took probably about 25 minutes with.
I was like, I know it was like an exciting game, but I was like actually kind of glad that I fell asleep. Because it was very fun to just like see the recap, be like, oh wow, that's crazy, and not have to take up that much time.
It was frustrating with every single stop in review, and then that insane play at the very end with 0.9 seconds left was just amazing. But then they were like, well, that play only took 0.2 seconds, so we got to bring everybody back on the court with 0.7 seconds left. And then it took like 5 minutes just to figure out who was on the court.
So that's why sports are bad. You have 0.9 seconds, and it takes minutes?
Yes.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
This is why soccer's good. It's the opposite. The game's 90 minutes, but you play less than that.
I wear no pants in the chat says that he's going to Game 4 in LA, and he's hoping to see the Suns sweep there. That would be amazing. Look, they've won 9 in a row at this point, and like just.
But also,
going.
you don't want the Clippers down 0-2. They've proven to be a difficult team.
That's true too.
Once they've lost twice.
Yes. So I guess we'll see what happens. But it's an exciting time to not have most of the stars around. And honestly,
I think it's great. Like I know people the stars are gone. But, like the ratings are like not that far behind where they were 2 years ago. They're obviously way above where they were last year, but football was going on. But this is how you make new stars. Like this is what people watching WWE complain about.
Yeah, that's true.
The same people always win.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, like, even with the Suns and the Clippers in there, like, Kawhi Leonard's not there, and Chris Paul's not there. But it was still exciting basketball, so whatever, I'm not complaining. Anyway, that's our basketball talk. And this is also the last Wednesday without Dynamite for the foreseeable future. Because I know they'll finish out the rest of this year on TNT, and then we'll be on TBS starting January 5th, I think. And then, hopefully don't get booted from TBS for anything, like Atlanta Braves games.
Or the return of Conan.
Or American Dad reruns.
No, those are new. That's where its first run is TBS.
But then
Very
it's second,
funny.
it's rerun also, right?
Yes, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, that's what's going to bump it, not the first run. Once it ends up in the TNA 4 p.m. on Friday slot, it'll be easy to bump.
Hey, that's the improved
make
4
sure to tell
p.m.
your
on Friday
friends.
slot.
Yeah.
It'll be cool that it's on at a time that people know when to find it and watch it.
Yes, because this week they've got Saturday going on, which is fun.
Like, that's probably the worst one, because like all the Friday ones, at least it was consistently on that same Friday time for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But then to have the one weird week of like, oh, this time it's Saturday though.
But I feel like they picked that because there's also nothing on tomorrow. They didn't have to. I think they could have, but I feel like Tony Khan wanted to do like a Saturday live show with, like, Wednesday was off the table. So it was like, okay, if I'm going to sell tickets to something, I'd rather sell them to a Saturday night than a really late Friday night, because they'll be on at the regular time.
So they're back to 8 instead of 10.
Yes, they're back to 8, and there
That's
will be fans. Like, pretty much AEW is officially done with shows.
That's unfortunate.
Shows with they're done with shows with no crowds and being taped. So we'll see what that shift looks like now.
I would like a prediction on something.
Okay.
So recently, if you've been watching the news, there's been a lot of fighting at sporting events.
Oh yeah.
No, those are
Will
airplanes.
we see a fight in the crowd at a wrestling show within the first month back?
Yeah, I'm gonna go fuck someone up on the day I go back.
I feel like
you
it's
gotta win that-
unlikely.
gotta win that
just
belt
because
off
It's
them.
not like a raucous, like you versus me sport. But
And
I
it's
wouldn't
like a
put anything
family
past
thing.
wrestling fans.
You're going to see it would be like, is there going to be a fight at Paw Patrol Live?
There's fights on airplanes all the time now. It's possible.
Yeah, there's
airplane
also
stuff is
a lot of
weird.
alcohol.
No, not on airplanes.
But yeah? You ever been
Nope.
on an airplane, Paul?
Yeah, have you ever been on one recently?
Not like today.
They aren't serving alcohol on planes
Since when?
since COVID started.
Oh, I haven't been on one since then.
You get to pick a soda by showing numbers 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then they bring it to you, and then you can take your mask off for a little bit to sip it.
Is this like Spirit Airlines, though? Is it
No,
like,
Southwest.
is this
that's
like,
how it was
hey,
last time.
tilt your chin up and open your mouth, and we'll pour a sip of the soda you pick into your mouth? We have to use
They
the
just
same
go
can
around
for
with a
8
bottle
people?
with the little nozzle on the top, like in a bar.
Yeah, it's just a can. And they're just like, I'll give you a sip, and you just got to open it, and they just pour it in your mouth, and you just move on.
It's the community can.
Yeah, so they only bring like a 6-pack on the flight.
Man, I got a lot of travel coming up. Speaking of which, I won't be on RBR the next couple weeks because next week I'll be at a dinner date, and then week after I will be on vacation in
At CPAC.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, that's where CPAC is.
Visiting his good friend Hulk Hogan.
Nah, CPAC's at the Gaylord, Paul.
Oh. Hey, wait a minute. There might be a joke in there.
Speaking of that and CPAC, how about Milo?
Oh,
Now it's starting a conversion therapy camp.
I love your prediction for that.
Yeah, well, it's obviously grift, but also like Come on, you think that guy's just magically not gay anymore? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, granted, he said he ended his engagement, right? And he, if I remember correctly, he was engaged to a black.
He threw his wedding ring into the ocean.
Oh wow!
Did
So,
he say something like that? I feel like it was something very.
You could just buy
dramatic.
another one.
so he was engaged to a black guy, right?
Yeah.
So
And
which
that's why he was allowed to use slurs.
my question was which do you
Which one
think
caused the problem?
Yeah, disgusted him more, knowing who he is.
What I'm intrigued to see is like, I don't know. So I saw a thing the other day that even among Republicans, gay marriage is now like above water. Like over 50% of Republicans are okay with gay marriage. So like, I don't know that he really has any utility with them anymore as a gay guy, but also like I don't think like conversion therapy is like a hot MAGA issue. Like I don't think this is gonna help him like get over again with that crowd.
Probably not.
I don't
Doesn't seem like a priority.
I really don't understand what the move is here beyond like doing psychological damage to people for natural inclinations.
I
You ever think some people are just crazy?
Yeah.
That
I
might
think
be
it's
it.
that, and I think like I'm sure that there's probably somebody who's gonna like give him money to do it, but like I always just assume it's some sort of financial thing, but I feel like he could come up with something better. I'm disappointed in him as a grifter.
Oh my god. Well, hey folks. I do want to let you know that this is RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk, and it's a show we do Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We are at Mixlr.com/fanoff. And that's also how you chat with us at Mixlr.com/fanoff, or you can just download the Mixlr app. That's really the easiest way to do it, because if you subscribe or follow the Fanoff channel, then you just get notifications when we go live, and then you can just listen to us like everybody else is, and then you can join the chat right there on your device. And there's plenty of people in the chat tonight, because I see Antox in the chat, and there's Josh. And I mentioned I wear no pants earlier, and there's Knock Knock and Anthony Scatz, who was on the show the last 2 weeks. Thank you for filling in, Anthony Scatz. And yeah, join us. Also, you can call us. 909-581-4RBR is the way to do that. That's 909-581-4727. You can just jump right in on the show and give us your thoughts on the wrestling topics this week. You can also email us, mail@rbrwrestling.com, and if we get your email before the end of the show, we may read it during the mailbag. And you can also subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/rbrwrestling. Eric and Maxwell did a new podcast this week, actually.
Yeah, we did a really fun Against All Pods about some interesting times in TNA.
Yeah. The end of TNA is 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you can learn about all the up-and-coming stars of 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Like Scott Hall.
Johnny B. Bad.
Kevin Nash. DDP.
Eric Watts.
And then some actual up-and-coming stars like AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
And was there another one?
Christopher Daniels, technically. Robert Roode was there.
Tracy Brooks.
Tracy
Hoyt?
Brooks was there. No Lance Hoyt on those shows.
No Lance Hoyt.
There was a very depressing match that where 3 of the 4 people in it are still in TNA today. It was America's Most Wanted versus Team Canada, Bobby Roode and Eric Young.
Yep.
17 years later.
But yeah, so definitely subscribe to our Patreon. It helps fund this show that we do here. And so doing a little extra content for the Patreon. That's why we do this. But it helps us do this every week.
Wasn't Robert Roode one time being mean to Tracy Brooks, and we had to call and tell on him?
Yeah.
That was when he was like Bobby Roode and then Robert Roode like 8 different times. They kept changing his first name. And I think that's when he was doing like the hottest free agent thing, and then Tracy was his manager, and it's like, okay. And then he was mean to her. And then Eric Young wore a dress, I think.
Oh, who was the girl he had?
Did he have Miss Tassmacher for a while too?
No, he had. God, I can't remember her name. And I hope the chat comes up with it because it was one of those names we used to make fun of every week, and now I, for the life of me, cannot remember who she was.
It was not Roxy Laveau who managed the Voodoo Kin Mafia.
No. God damn it! This is gonna drive me nuts. Shit. Who was it? Damn it! All right, this is gonna drive me.
It's in that call that Matt made.
Yeah,
because I know he asked about it, and I forget who it is.
I know that name. I'm in his Wikipedia entry, seeing if I can find it, and it's wait. No, chat doesn't have it. Damn it.
Wasn't she like super hot too?
Yeah, kinda.
There was Miss Brooks. Okay.
Peyton Banks. That's it.
Peyton Banks. Yeah.
Yes. Shit. There we go. Now I'm looking at Peyton Banks.
I'm surprised Paul didn't know that because he's the only real wrestling fan here. The only true wrestling fan left.
She was Rain and Shimmer and used to team with Lacey, and they were a big time cowboy hat tag team back then.
Yeah, I remember. If your name was Peyton and you're in pro wrestling, odds are you're a babe.
Didn't Peyton Manning host Raw one time?
So this is funny. One time when I was
I'm just kidding.
Working for a professional women's softball team when I was in college, I was part of the way that this team made money, because most professional women's softball teams don't make money, is they had an actual legitimate stadium. So they would rent it out for like little league girls softball tournaments and like AAU tournaments for travel softball, and they would give them like the full experience. Like they would put your name and your picture on the jumbotron, and they would have me be the PA announcer for those games, and I'd get a list with like everyone's name and like a phonetic pronunciation of it so I could announce them. And a lot of times parents would get mad if I said their kid's name wrong, and they would like storm the media booth and start pounding on the door. So that was cool. But there was a girl who was named Peyton Manning.
Oh no.
And she was born like right before Peyton Manning would have been like famous. Like I think she was born like, I think 97 would have made her like 14 at that time. So it was like right before he would have been a really famous person. And I felt really bad for her.
It's like my best friend in third grade, Christopher Benoit.
I guess going on the TNA line, there was one time I was on a double date with my ex-girlfriend, and a friend brought this girl with him, and her name was Dawn, D-A-W-N, and somewhere along the lines in the dinner, she revealed that her last name was West, and I could not stop focusing on the fact.
Did you say, "You've got to be kidding me"?
In my head. And I'm like, nobody watches this. Not a single person would get that at this table, but name's Don West. This rules. And that was that. But yeah, so, folks, I think it's about time we get into the first segment here on RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. The meat and potatoes of RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. Folks, this is
the wrestling news this week.
And starting out the wrestling news this week, we'll go with a little bit of AEW news to start. All Elite Wrestling has announced the details of their upcoming new weekly series, Rampage, on TNT. Of course, last week on Dynamite was the first time we saw what the graphics would look like. They showed it was all a bunch of lightning graphics and the talent of AEW. And then I knew something was up when Britt Baker tweeted, "I miss Pittsburgh." And I immediately thought, oh, they're about to make a Pittsburgh announcement, aren't they? And the next day, they announced that Pittsburgh would be the home of the first episode of AEW Rampage. What's interesting is that the show going forward after that first event will be taped alongside Dynamite. But for this first event, it actually will be live in Pittsburgh.
Do you
That's
think
a
this
good
is
idea,
going
I feel like, to do the first one live, drum up some excitement around it.
And then Tony Khan did confirm that all the go home shows will also be live, which I think he
Oh, that's
confirmed.
cool.
He confirmed that there will be a go home live Rampage in Chicago right before All Out. So
Well, you can also do the thing like WWF used to do in like the mid '90s when they'd have like, or early '90s maybe, where they'd have like the road to SummerSlam, and then do like one of the matches that you couldn't fit on the SummerSlam card on that show instead,
Yeah.
so that way it still has live event appeal.
what were you going to ask, Paul?
Do you think this is going to cause Bobby Lashley to get new Titantron because he's also got Gold Lightning, and they stole it from him?
Probably not.
Then the fans are really dumb, and they'll get confused. Like, you could be watching Raw. Well,
Where's the
not you.
Almighty?
Me, I could be watching Raw because I'm the only one who does that. The only wrestling fan here. And Bobby Lashley would come out and you're like, what? I thought I was watching Raw, not Rampage.
Well,
Because of the lightning.
either way, I guess what I thought was really
Do
interesting.
you think it'll
though-
be confusing when, since it's on TNT or TBS or whatever, the movie Rampage will be the lead-in like 40% of the time?
No, Rampage plays on USA, doesn't it?
What plays on TNT? Oh, San Andreas?
Yeah, I mean,
Which Rock movie do I keep seeing the end of?
the one with Mark Wahlberg plays a lot.
Pain and Gain?
I've seen that, and I've seen what's the other one? Kevin Hart.
Central Intelligence?
Yes, Central Intelligence
Or
plays.
Jumanji or Jumanji 2?
No, specifically Central Intelligence plays all the time.
When is the Rock
I've never
gonna get a TV channel?
I've never specifically seen Central Intelligence, but I know how it begins and I know exactly how it ends because it's either come on before Dynamite or after.
I barely have to scroll on TNT's list of current movies to see The Rock 3 times. They got Central Intelligence, they got Fast 6, they got Hercules.
I like the idea of The Rock getting a TV channel for like several years it's all Rock content. And then it's just like reruns of ridiculousness, and then we can be like, I remember when the Rock's channel showed only the Rock, and now they don't show anything except for this guy and this laughing girl.
Is there a reason that show is on all the time? Like, did Rob Dyrdek, does he know something about somebody? Like, why is that on all the time?
I have no idea.
Maybe it's like the only thing they fully own the rights to.
Stephanie got super hooked on it recently, and I was I was progressively more angry as the TV stayed on because that show is fucking garbage.
Rampage will not be a problem because while it is one of the 6 times I see The Rock on this list of maybe 30 films that TNT has, they're losing the rights next week.
To what?
Oh, it just says on their site expires in 6 days.
For Rampage? So it is there?
Yeah. So
cool.
Rampage will no longer be there when Rampage comes in. What was the date?
October 13th. Now, what's interesting, though, was that, so for all of the shows AEW is promoted, they usually put this big graphic that has all of the roster on it, or at least most of them. You usually see like Jon Moxley or Cody in the middle, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, usually the guys that AEW would. It's usually like the whole fucking roster on these posters. But for the Rampage event, it's just Britt Baker. And I thought that's interesting that they're using her, like, and it's on every graphic that they're using to sell the event, whether you go to AEW events or AEWTix.com, it's just Britt Baker.
Yeah, even the secret pre-sale code is Britt Baker themed.
Yeah, it's AEW DMD is the pre-sale code.
You're going to get kicked out of the heels now. That was your face turn.
But yeah, they, like, everything's Britt Baker themed. And I think it's fascinating that they have, in a hometown sense, built a draw out of her. Assuming this works, of course. Like, if the event doesn't sell, then they can be like, well, it's because we put Britt Baker on all the graphics. But I think it's going to. I think it's going to sell out. And especially because they're doing the combo tickets, because it's going to be Dynamite and Rampage, and you can buy for both at a discounted rate. But yeah, so either way, I think the fact that they're using Britt Baker as the appeal and draw for this event is actually really cool, because it kind of shows that AEW has kind of created their own draw, and the fact that she is one, or that they see her as one anyway. Whether or not she is one depends on how the event sells, which tickets go on sale. Pre-sale is tomorrow, and then the event, the actual tickets go on sale Friday.
So are you going?
No.
Okay.
I have a hard
Had
time
to ask.
imagining it not being a success.
I have a hard time imagining Will not going.
Yeah.
There's still time.
No,
I
I'm
would
not
just,
going.
I mean, also, isn't it the first Rampage?
Yes, it is the
Wouldn't
first
you want to
one.
be a part of
It's
that
gonna be
history?
It's going to be a success. Like, people are going to go because you're expecting, something big for the first episode.
Well,
You're expecting Tommy End.
Well, so one thing that's kind of cool is, so there's a couple of things that you can expect going forward as far as AEW is concerned. So they do have, they did announce like a month ago that All Out would feature the next, the Casino Battle Royale to determine the number one contender for the women's championship. And so normally the Casino Battle Royale features 21 participants. And what's fascinating is that I don't believe signed officially AEW has 21, because I think if you add in like the Dark People and then also Thunder Rosa, then
Excuse me?
then
What people?
then they'd be over the 21. But otherwise, I have a feeling that over the next few weeks, or at least as they get closer and some of those non-competes expire, I think that they will probably announce. Like, it's one of those things where like you would have to put like Mickey James as like the Joker card and probably throw in at least an appearance by
Zelina Vega. That's who her short-term deal she signed 6 months ago was with.
I mean,
Yeah,
a lot
We're
of
gonna
people
hear
all
about
about
soon.
that.
a lot of people are thinking that she's the surprise that Andrade mentioned on Dynamite this week.
Is it a
He's gonna have,
surprise
like,
that she's going to be wrestling and not managing?
I don't know. I mean,
They're both stuck with Vicky. This act that we know is far superior than anything Vicky's done in the last decade.
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be, but they do have a surprise, and
I think the surprise is Lana, and everyone's going to be really disappointed.
what? How would that work?
Oh, they
Look,
could
man.
redo the classic Lana Dolph Ziggler angle, but with Andrade.
But
And then Lana could sell a story to a newspaper that says that she's actually still married to Rusev, and everyone would get mad at her.
speaking of women returning to AEW or possibly debuting, this one's a return, but as of, I think it was only like half an hour ago, Yuka Sakazaki tweeted that she's making her return to AEW starting in July, so pretty much as soon as they go on tour. And that is awesome. We actually haven't seen Yuka Sakazaki since, I want to say, I know she was on the Revolution pre-show.
Is that the girl with the big pants?
Yes.
Yeah.
She famously was...
We call her Big Pants.
She was famously curb stomped by Britt Baker and then had the tooth fall out. And then Britt Baker cut that really good promo on it the next week. But
She's famous for her big pants.
yes, and
I
also
don't want to look like a pirate.
also she does have a fun theme song as well. But yeah, Yuka Sakazaki, she's always been a fun act. And it seemed like they were starting to do stuff with her before the pandemic. And then we didn't see her again pretty much after, I think she was on the Revolution pre-show in 2020, and then we haven't seen her since. She was in the tournament, but obviously on the Japanese side. But she's returning to the States starting in July, and she's going to work the summer events. So happy to have Yuka Sakazaki back. Also, in AEW news, Tony Khan. I found this bit interesting. He did multiple interviews this week, so there's plenty I could pick out from. But there was one particular interview he did where he spoke about the future of the live events and talked about, because I've had concerns about that, about like the fact that they have Dark now, they have Dark Elevation, they're going to have Dynamite and Rampage, and like obviously they'll have on the show or on the weeks where they have two events, that's not going to be a problem. But on the weeks where it's just the one taping, how are they going to get all four of those events in there? And Tony Khan shed some light on that, which was that Dark apparently won't be going on the road going forward. That
Thank God it's canceled.
no, it's actually in the process of finding a central location to start taping Dark. And the way Tony Khan described Dark going forward is that it's going to be essentially AEW's developmental show that's going to be taped at one location and featuring the developmental talent of AEW.
That makes sense.
Or
they have like
Tony,
1 billion people under contract, so
yeah,
it's a good thing to do.
Tony could take my idea, and it could just be those YouTube videos you see after every pay-per-view where it's just the person simming all the matches on the 2K video game. And Dark could just be that.
Well, so
with AEW's roster.
Well, so I once he described that, I suddenly realized what Elevation is supposed to be now. Because right now, with Elevation and Dark both being taped at Daly's Place, it's like these are kind of the same show with just different commentators, and like clearly they care more about Elevation because it has like a whole presentation and a theme song and all of that. And Dark is like kind of the same types of matches. But if Dark becomes their developmental show, which is interesting because it's going to air on Tuesdays at a central location, which kind of makes it NXT. But so Elevation, he said, is going to go on the road. And so Elevation then becomes the show where it almost becomes
Dark used to be.
Yeah. And it almost becomes like not Superstars. What's the show? WWE Main Event. It almost becomes like Main Event in a sense where he said that the talent from Dark will get a chance to work in front of the crowds. So then Dark becomes just kind of a stationary show where they can kind of test out talent. And then Dark Elevation is the chance to elevate that talent to put them in front of the crowds. And suddenly I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. It didn't quite make any sense when you just had the two shows side by side. But yeah, so at least AEW, and it helps push AEW toward what they've clearly been building, which is building their own ecosystem of essentially their programs existing off of themselves and not necessarily being supplemental programming to WWE, which Impact could never shake being. But yeah, so that's what it's going to be. It's going to be now Mondays Elevation taped at whatever the previous venue was, Tuesdays Dark taped at wherever they find, and then Wednesdays live Dynamite, and then on occasion Fridays live Rampage. They filled up the week.
That's a lot of wrestling.
That is. And then the other last bit is, of course, speaking of returns to AEW, Cody and Moxley are both set to return in 2 weeks. So,
he just had a baby.
Oh, because it's the 4th of July, of course.
Nope, that would be the 7th of July.
It's the week of the 4th of July. You know he's going to do it, man.
I mean, Cody was obvious because he's already advertised to be having a match. In 2 weeks, he's having the South Beach strap match against QT Marshall. And then, but John Moxley being back is actually news. That he's expected to return for those shows on the road. So really, they are just killing time till they have like all their stars in place. And that's AEW news. On the Tuesday night front, the identity of the Diamond Mine was revealed. I didn't see this, but how was the crowd receptive to Tessa Blanchard?
Oh, they loved her. As soon
They were
as
thrilled
she
because she had just shown up and saved someone from getting beaten up in the parking lot. They were bleeding out. She went and helped them.
Do you
the
think
NXT parking lot strikes again?
I was thinking earlier today, I was watching one of those like just for .com videos they do of Everrise doing some shenanigans in the parking lot. And I realized like the building next, because it's not Full Sail parking lot anymore. It's the Performance Center. Mm-hmm. So it's like right next to just other businesses in that same parking lot. Like next to them is like a power washing company. Do you think they get fucking sick of this shit?
Yes.
But they're like trying to work and look at the windows and it's like, oh, two dudes are filming a dumb skit again in the fucking parking lot.
Come quick, this one doesn't have pants on. Again.
Oh, he got attacked. They're like calling the police like every week, like someone just got attacked again. The Diamond Mine's good. Tessa's new gimmick is that she is Roderick Strong and friends.
Now, well, what's interesting is that one of the things I've listened to you guys complain about over the last long time is
Tag team wrestling.
Is that Roderick Strong isn't the strongest talker.
If you listen to this week's Patreon about TNA, you even insulted his charisma there because he stinks.
But one of the guys that I think everybody's been high on for years is Stokely Hathaway, or Malcolm Bivens.
Tyler Rust.
And that he has really been needing to be like an essential mouthpiece for a long time. Like there's so many times you could find a use for him.
Because he was like very briefly with Indashare, and then with like 2 weeks, like, no, call those guys up.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they have like the weird
the
spoiler controversy too with Indashire? Didn't one of them get in trouble for accidentally tweeting?
Oh, the picture of Keith Lee with the titles.
Yeah,
I remember that being a big to-do. It's gonna be the Bram. What was the dumb kid in the Game of Thrones? God, that show is not even relevant. I can't remember his name anymore.
Wait, if they got in trouble for tweeting out that spoiler, is that why they put him with Jinder Mahal, like as punishment?
I don't know.
It's not the first time Keith Lee's been exposed. His wrestling does that too. But yeah, I think having Bivens is going to be good for Roderick because the main reason Roderick was able to thrive in the UE is that he didn't have to talk because Adam Cole was there.
They didn't stop him though.
But he would just add the one line in here and there. He never had to do the promo.
I think this will be good. I think it's neat. NXT has a lot of stables, which is really confusing to the casual viewer, but I think, us true fans will enjoy it.
Yeah, Paul, the one true wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Suzuki's a surprising one because he was just hired as like a coach this year because he did some guest coaching at the PC before, and then they hired him like just in like January as like a full-time coach, and now he's on screen in this group, so whether he's wrestling in the group or he's going to have like a managerial role in the group also, I don't know. Like only Roderick did any offense in the debut.
Well, what's interesting is how well this was kept under wraps. I mean, there was never a Tessa rumor. Like, literally, it was just people being dumb. Because, like, a diamond, that's what she wears on her.
But there were other people who were very much rumored.
Yes.
When random PC guys were starting to like the Diamond Mine stuff, is probably where those rumors came from.
Right.
Because it was like, why did this random collegiate wrestler like that post?
But ultimately, like, everybody went back to the Roderick Strong exit of, oh, duh. That like this totally makes sense now.
But nobody I definitely saw people thinking Roderick Strong and maybe Shafir with him, but I never saw Bivens or Rust or Suzuki in any talk.
It was all definitely kept under wraps well. And same with the battery recharge thing. Nobody seems to know what that is at all.
Oh, that's Enzo Amore.
I think it's probably Tegan.
I'm hoping it's Tegan. She's been doing like appearances on the bump recently and stuff, so it seems like they're trying to make sure people remember who she is.
My hope is that
a battery recharging feels like coming back from an injury type hype.
My hope is that she returns, has a match, and then is able to have a second one after that. Because she's great, and I don't want her to get hit with another injury.
Yeah, but she's the glass man.
In other news, we also have Fightful Select reported this week that NXT has been quite pleased with the Cruiserweight title as of late and are very happy with Kushida and are going to be focusing more on the Cruiserweight title going forward.
It is that time of year when they spend a few months on the Cruiserweight title, like they did last year with the tournament and everything and the debut of Santos Escobar. I mean, they're letting like Kushida just main evented this match, and Diamond Mine seemed to make a point of this feud is going to be for the title. So the fact that you're having your hot new debuting faction close your show, threatening the Cruiserweight champ means, at least for right now, you've got some interest in that.
I think it helps that Karrion Kross is the NXT champion, because I always had a beef with the idea of a Cruiserweight title in NXT, just because like, what is a Cruiserweight?
Everyone could compete for it.
Yeah, because like, what is a Cruiserweight in NXT? Like Finn Balor would, or Adam Cole, like the two main guys who have been feuding over the NXT title or hovering over it the last couple of years.
Yeah. Or both. It's all the former champs except Joe and Keith Lee.
Yeah, and so like
they should make it a title about no limits, so then Joe can get it.
Oh hell yeah!
It's about no limits, not weight limits.
That is creative. I've never heard that before.
It's a good idea, and then you could win it by climbing a ladder on the ramp.
Yeah.
That's
by the way, I was just recently watching because I think the anniversary of it just came about. But Kurt Angle's first TNA title win, and God, the King of the Mountain match was such a stupid visual. But just the ending, the idea of somebody climbing the ladder to hang the belt up, and then pull it back off
the penalty box,
and then like the Dixieland match where like it was on the stage. I was like, what is happening?
But like, it's such a silly visual to see somebody climbing up with the belt, hang it, and then pull it back off to celebrate. And that, like, that's what makes the visual of the ladder match so great, is that they're pulling down the belt and they already have it.
And now it's theirs.
Speaking of Kurt Angle, the Carmelo Hayes promo with Adam Cole this week was top-notch stuff.
Oh yeah, that ruled.
When
that
Adam Cole was like,
I didn't see this. What?
Oh, so Adam Cole's like, hey, because they were supposed to pick their own opponents this week.
Yeah.
So it's like, we got O'Reilly and Sheeta, and Cole was like, I'm not going to pick anybody. That's stupid. Fuck Samoa Joe. And Carmelo Hayes, who just is like the new debut guy, lost to Kushida a few weeks ago, came out and cut a promo of, hyping himself up. And Cole was like, why the fuck do you think I should wrestle you? And Carmelo Hayes answered with ruthless aggression and slapped him. I was like, that's good. That's a good callback.
That's awesome.
That is very much nostalgia now.
It is.
That was 23 years ago.
And speaking of NXT, along those same lines, so there's it's not even rumors, it's a fact, because like Main Event airs tomorrow. But
Blanchard.
Karrion Kross, there was a rumor that he was backstage at Hell in a Cell, and same with Bronson Reed, and they were both backstage at Raw and worked this week's Main Event.
Yeah, suck on that, Shelton Benjamin.
Isn't that who Karrion Kross faced?
Yeah, he beat him.
What's interesting, though, is that Scarlett's not with him. That she actually is rumored to be backstage at SmackDown.
That would be a mistake.
Who's it a mistake for?
For the Karrion Kross.
Yeah, it's a mistake for him. She'll be fine.
Main event now is just like main event elevation.
Yeah, that's exactly
bridging the gap.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking was.
If they wanted to make it that, like, for real, that would make it a far more interesting show if it was just main roster guy versus NXT guy in the matches. So it was like Cedric Alexander versus Austin Theory.
That's ideally what it should be, right? That it should be a show where, because especially when WWE is on tour, and like, one problem that NXT has always had is that Full Sail was never like a good barometer for like actual crowds, because they're just weird, and they were kind of into everything.
We're just there for Izzy.
They're into everything, or like everything got dueling chants, and like it was kind of hard to gauge like what's actually over. And so to have and granted they're not going back to Full Sail, but I imagine once they start letting like more fans into the CWC, it's going to be those same fans. And I think having Main Event as like we think this act might be working in NXT. Let's now bring them on the road this week and have them work Main Event and see how they do with an actual crowd.
I think the problem with that is, if you were to bring NXT guys on the road and have them face main roster talent, every November you can't have the one night a year where superstars from Raw and SmackDown go head to head, including NXT.
That happened one time.
It would still be the one night a year where Raw and SmackDown superstars go head to head, including NXT.
They won't include NXT anymore.
Yeah, because NXT won, so they stopped getting invited.
Now they're undefeated.
It's like when the Democrats won and they started changing all the voting rules. NXT beat Raw and SmackDown. They're like, you know what? You guys can't come here anymore.
So Will's point, though, would be a good way to test if an act is a rosebud or a lemon.
I mean, that was the moment that happened. We knew it was doomed because they changed half the presentation.
But I do feel like we've seen multiple cases where an act has connected in Full Sail and just doesn't work. And
vice versa.
And we've seen vice versa. Elias was absolutely vice versa. So I do think that having some kind of bridge is a good thing.
especially like right now with main event, it doesn't matter. But with fans, you get to, if nothing else, just be like, how big is their reaction?
Yeah.
Is it like when Sami Zayn and Joe showed up on, or Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens would show up on the main roster and people would pop crazy knowing who they were? Or is it like when the Neville would show up back in the early cruiserweight days? People were like, who the fuck are these guys?
Now, I do have to say,
I assume this isn't going to happen and we're just like fantasy booking here.
Yeah.
But the problem with main event is that they start that like 10 minutes after the doors open, so no one's even at their seats. You just hear a bell ring while you're buying like popcorn and a beer.
See, I disagree because when I've been at events, I feel like main event has oddly enough been when the crowd's like the fucking hottest, just because they're like, oh my god, I'm here and I'm gonna cheer for Charlie Haas. Like it's almost insane what reactions I've seen people get on main event just because it's the first thing that we get to see.
No, man, they were cheering for Drew Gulak because he's the best.
And I, what was I going to say? So the weird thing about main event is, for whatever reason, I decided to I wanted to see at least one of the Ali and Ricochet matches that everybody's been raving about. So I threw on main event. That show's presentation is not updated in 10 years. Since that show debuted.
Is it still like the spinning heads of Matt Hardy and the
No,
Undertaker?
that was Superstars. Main event though has the exact same graphics it had when it debuted on, I want to say it was Ion Television.
Yeah, Ion.
Yeah, that was.
It was a play on words because like your eyes are on.
Is that network still around?
Yeah, it turned into the Cowboy Channel though.
Remember when TNA used to be like when they were on that network with Schitt's Creek and everyone's like, "LOL, Schitt's Creek, that's a dumb name."
And that show,
then became the most popular show the year that ended.
Yep. Oh yeah, apparently Ion is still going. It used to be PAX. I do remember PAX, but yeah, Ion's still going. And yeah, that was where that's where main event debuted. But the graphics set, I think they changed the theme song when it moved to the network, but it's that same song. Like, they just left that show alone. So
now that you checked it out, how was Ricochet versus Great Value Mansoor?
It was good. I mean, I don't like watching stuff in the Thunderdome because I can't get into the fake reactions. But I guess for that it was good.
Turns out Ion is just reruns of Ridiculousness now.
What is My Network TV now? I am curious what that network plays.
Johnny Carson reruns.
Because, I can't imagine... Actually, I'm looking at it right now that it's currently playing Dark Path.
I did notice there is a channel that actually shows Johnny Carson now. It's like Antenna TV or something. Now that we're in the only boomers watch TV anymore, there has to be more and more channels that are like the old boomer shows.
I do like that there's a channel called Antenna. It's for shitty old shows.
There are people like, I remember the antennas.
I mean, so I recognize the need for nostalgia and the joy that nostalgia brings. Like, I have been watching Nick Arcade pretty much every night for the last pretty much since I got Paramount Plus. And so what's fascinating though is that my dad is the same way, but my dad is significantly older than me, and so he will just watch Little Rascals.
My dad's older than me too.
Well, I mean, my dad had me at 45, so he is I was definitely a late in life kid for him. But he's really into he will just throw on the Little Rascals randomly and just watch it. But I know what it is. It's that same kind of boyhood nostalgia that I get when I throw on Power Rangers or, like I said, Nick Arcade. Which I'm not sure why I watch Nick Arcade. It's a fucking game show for children. But there's a little piece of me that has joy when they ask a question and I'm like, oh, I know, Cleopatra. And that is.
I think if you're going to have a nostalgia channel, you should be the rules should require that you only air commercials from the time of that show.
That's what I like about...
I know that's difficult, but they need to figure out how to do it.
So that's what I love about the Nickelodeon game shows, because I've also been watching Legends of the Hidden Temple, is that the prizes are all for stuff that was popular at the time.
And all the Gigatube?
Yeah, way older than that. No, they're tell them what they've won. They've won brand new Chewy Runts from Wonka.
Don't call him Paul that.
I'm a little chewy.
And
I don't get though watching like nostalgic talk shows because it's like, well, you're here to promote a movie that came out 45 years ago. Hope you're
sometimes,
enjoying this.
especially if it's like a movie that has notoriety, I do get. I like watching what the buzz around it was at the time.
It's just gonna be fucking old man Johnny Carson. Like, oh, go check out Naked Gun with my guest O.J. Simpson.
Yeah,
We
that
love
rules.
O.J.
What? That's the thing.
Man who can do no wrong in my book, OJ.
Acquitted, by the way. So Paul, probably the lone person, but Paul has very much been asking about one Damian Priest.
Oh, I'm sure other people have been asking.
Yeah, Bad Bunny writes in every week asking if we have news.
I mean, I have been asking because he won his feud and then left.
Well,
And then they keep putting John Morrison on TV.
The word going around, according to the Observer, specifically Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, he noted that Damian Priest was actually dealing with a back injury, and the back injury actually dates back to before WrestleMania, but that he didn't want to miss WrestleMania in this big angle with Bad Bunny, and he worked through it and worked through the injury and worked through finishing the angle with John Morrison and The Miz, and then took some time off. But apparently is, according to Fightful, good to return as soon as next week.
I feel like he probably knew he couldn't take time off with a back injury, especially when Miz has been working with a bad back for a couple of years from having to carry John Morrison. This guy stinks.
Yeah, now he's in a fucking wheelchair because of how bad Morrison's been.
Miz in a wheelchair is still better than John Morrison walking. Isn't he? Haven't you been, Have you watched? He's
no, I haven't.
Still more entertaining with his squirt stick or whatever.
But he says drip drip.
That's it, his drip stick.
But yeah, so at least Damian Priest, because the good thing is he did leave after winning that feud, so it's not like he toiled away doing nothing. At least the last memory of
he left
him.
on top.
Yeah, and that's probably the best way to go.
I would find a way to get him in that Money in the Bank match.
I mean,
to test that back out.
I mean, there's only one person I hope they don't find a way to put in that match at this point.
Same. Drew McIntyre has no business being in there.
Actually, you know what I would love to see?
The fact that we as soon as that pay-per-view ended, we were like, okay, he can't compete anymore. Good. And then immediately Raw was like, here's his opportunity at getting in the Money in the Bank. But then he lost to Riddle. And then they were like, and then next week, the last chance. And you're like, get the fuck out of here. You
knock it off.
He's not going to be over.
Now he's going to have go-away heat, I'm afraid, if they actually run with him.
Maybe they're going to turn him heel, but I doubt it. I think they're going to try to force him as a face before they turn him.
Now, that said, if it was anybody who hadn't already been, like, through the ringer, I think it would be an interesting storyline if Drew, like, won the Money in the Bank, but, like, can't cash in because the other...
they did talk about that.
Because the other stipulation overrides it, so, like...
The fact that it was acknowledged on commentary means they have thought that idea through and might do it.
He gives it to The Miz.
Yeah, it'd be a lawsuit.
I
mean, at a certain point, that story becomes Drew McIntyre's now trying to screw Lashley out of the title at every step of the way, so he can cash in.
Which, that story would work if you replaced Drew McIntyre with, like, Stone Cold back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was like he kept coming out and would just stun somebody and leave, and you're like, that's fucking cool. But if Drew comes out and Claymore kicks somebody and leaves, you're like, get the fuck out of here, nerd.
I feel bad because I feel like Drew was the he really wanted to be the poster boy through all of this. And remember
he was.
Remember that remember that promo Roman Reigns cut on him, but then Roman beat him, where Roman mentioned how he's like, nobody's watching Raw, they're watching me. And all that stuff Roman said though turned out to be true.
Drew is still the guy this whole time. When you think about the time that Drew McIntyre was champion, you'll think of 600,000 people dying in America. At least.
That's right. We got the Delta variant around here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Shout out to the Delta variant for me not caring at all about it because I got my shot.
Maybe care a little.
How much?
Doesn't it not matter?
No, they totally work.
Oh, okay.
They've been saying that like every day.
Yeah, they've been saying
Your
the worry
vaccines
is
work.
that the Delta variant could lead to more, that eventually the vaccines won't catch. But right now the vaccines will catch the Delta variant. So it's saying So
Okay.
What's going to make it worse is
people
the South.
continuing to not get vaccinated, and you're also the South. So
Yeah, do you think I'm proud of that?
Yeah, but that heat where Paul
Do
is.
you realize
will
how
kill
often I
Delta
go to New
variant.
York?
Yeah, once summer really kicks into gear, coronavirus is gonna go away.
Once you put those American
then
flags out, it'll just turn
after-
around.
Yeah, after the 2022 elections, it's gonna be like it never happened.
They're going to find the cure right after. I was told by someone that the government suppressed the treatment so they could get vaccines. It all helped Big Pharma.
No, Bill Gates suppressed the treatment.
So do you guys
He was the
think,
one who legally fought to not make it like free for other drug companies to make.
Yeah, that's true. Bill Gates legitimately
Because
should.
he was
is
like,
going to
it'll
burn in
set
hell.
a
He was
bad
going to burn in hell
precedent.
anyway.
Yeah, he legally argued that it would set a bad precedent if governments could like make patents public. So he was the one who fought and said, "No, this is ours. Eat shit."
What a weird time to have that battle.
Yeah, go hang out with Epstein some more and enjoy your divorce.
did you just tell him to die?
No, oh, Epstein is dead. I just meant that he was friends with Epstein and he can go back to that island and hang out.
You can go hang out with John McAfee. Wait a minute.
Famous tennis player John McAfee. Rest
Another-
in peace.
Another guy who tripped and
He's-
fell and suicided himself in jail.
Hey, he was you guys' wrestler of the year last year.
That's this year.
Yeah, he's my commentator of the year this year. Even though he's dead. That's my commentary on the state of commentary.
So do you guys think Karrion Kross gets called up anytime soon? Like it
Yeah,
sounds
but
like they just
we thought
won.
that before his.
Isn't the next draft like August or
minute.
something they're saying?
Yeah, but they don't do call-ups in the draft.
They did.
Can they do?
But-
That's how Alexa got called up.
I mean, that was 5 years ago, but like the last two
Yeah,
drafts,
do it again. Call up NXT Alexa Bliss.
the last two drafts they didn't do that.
Replace the current one.
I like the idea of doing a draft and then also just calling up like a dozen people at the same time.
Remember how a little over a week ago we were like hopeful that the Shayna Baszler thing would end Alexa Bliss's spooky character, and then this week they gave her a theme song,
Well,
Yeah, she got
at
that
least
new-
it's
like
like
her own theme song. So they're
A
doubling
new
down
video
on it.
and everything.
yeah, it's almost like they're establishing her own identity away from Bray.
There's no mention of Bray in any of her stuff now.
Yeah,
That's
it's
probably because he's gone.
entirely possible. Hey, speaking of the draft, there's now a rumor going that, according to WrestleVotes, Big E is being sought after by the Raw team, and that he may be reunited with the New Day very soon. However, that the plan, as the rumor puts it, is that he would still compete independently, but he would be tied to the New Day on the show, which is he's still kind of tied to them now. And so that doesn't really change that, except they just be on the same brand again.
It would help get his momentum back up again.
Well, what's interesting, is that, a lot of people had him picked as the guy to beat Roman maybe like 6 months ago. But now that's probably not the case. I would still like to see him built to that, but I think if they're talking about moving him to Raw, then they're clearly abandoning ship on that idea.
I think Cesaro's the guy, and I think they're waiting for fans to be there.
I think Bill Goldberg or
I don't
Brock
think
Lesnar are the
Cesaro's
guys.
the guy to beat Roman, but I think he's the guy. I mean, I think he's a guy that will face Roman in front of crowds. But
I think if he's in the Money in the Bank match, that is a very interesting match to see who they go with.
There is nobody today, as of now, who is ready to be the guy.
that's the problem I have with Roman's run, because like I think ultimately he's mostly entertaining, but I think that where it kind of reminds me of like 2003 Triple H-ish is that Hunter himself wasn't so bad, but it's that he had this kind of slate of mostly uncredible contenders. Like he had Booker T, who was like the one that should have beat him, but for the most part he was feuding with guys that nobody really bought was ever going to beat Hunter, and because they didn't have like John Cena yet, he wasn't there yet. They were in the process of building Batista.
Yeah, he'll be there for SummerSlam.
They eventually built Batista as the guy to take out Triple H. But like that's kind of how I see Roman in a sense, where I mean, I guess making that same comparison now that I say that out loud, Jimmy Uso could be that guy, and you'd never know it.
The difference is that he has good matches.
Yeah.
And that's something Triple H never did.
And that now they have guys that they could bring back to lose to Roman, because that would like be credible guys like John Cena and The Rock.
But what I mean is, like, at no point do you believe John Cena is going to get the 17th win off of Roman. And at no point do you believe The Rock's going to...
What? That's like one of the perfect guys for him to get it off of. If he's going to
Rock
get it.
could win the Rumble, and you could do Rock Cena once in a lifetime.
No, but you know Cena's not. But you know Cena's not sticking around beyond like a month, and you know
he
that
don't have to stick around and be champion. He could leave,
and you know The Rock's not going to stick around. Like these are things. These aren't necessarily scenarios. Like it's going to be entertaining, but at no point do I think Roman's going to lose either of those.
What about Brock Lesnar? What about Goldberg?
No, definitely not Goldberg.
What about Humberto Garza?
Mm-hmm.
I watched
Humberto Del Rio.
Humberto Garza was good. What about him?
What about Enzo?
Roddy Piper. Ooh, Enzo's a good one. Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, what is this you just sent me?
Tessa's back. Should I go see her?
Oh, Houston, June 30th. 2 weeks from tonight. Or next week. 1 week from tonight.
This poster sucks ass.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that
what
little
is this?
UFC tag in the top corner that doesn't match anything.
Yeah, no, this sucks. No, don't go to that.
Who the fuck is Daga?
Her husband.
Daga's her, fiance. Right?
Yeah, but like, who the fuck is he?
He's a wrestler.
He fought Rocky.
No, that's Drago.
No, that's Harry Potter's bully.
So
she's probably listening. We should be nice.
Sorry, Tessa. I love you.
I think she's the diamond mind, the mind behind the diamond mind.
I wish she was mine diamond.
Back to some slight AEW news. I don't know what you would call this news. But Joey Janela last night had some fun.
Oh yeah.
He decided to troll Drake Wirtz and that whole community last night. He went in what he calls his Florida man garb. He posted a video of him practicing his Florida man accent and wanting to take the masks off the children, because I saw children at the zoo with leashes on and masks. And he went, and you know what's funny was it's almost like you know what to anticipate on a Tuesday night. If it's going to be NXT and it's also going to be those, what is it, the Seminole
Drake
County?
Is at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those county meetings, and you know Drake Wirtz is going to be there and he's going to say something and he's going to make the rounds on Twitter. But what was interesting was that, Joey Janela showed up in character, and not in Joey Janela character, but playing the role of a Florida man upset about masks and vaccines. And
yeah, I think that's great. I think every wrestler
out.
should do this. Like, more often, they should just go in there and troll people. That said, no one would know this was happening if it wasn't for, like, Bix tweeting it.
Well,
literally
Joey
no one knows what's going on in these things.
Yeah, so I will say, too, I'm worried about what I will refer to as the Cornette
the cult
phenomenon, I guess, where like there's these people that like everyone's like, oh man, I hate this person. I just hate seeing them. Anyway, let's talk about every single thing that they're doing. And like Ben Shapiro did a video recently where he's like reading lyrics the new Megan Thee Stallion song or whatever. Can we just ignore these people? Like, they will go away if we just agree to ignore them. They're gonna go away. Like, it's stupid. Like, I understand needing to confront like problem people in society, but everybody talking about Drake Wirtz all the time isn't gonna help anything.
Also, like, the Joey thing is funny because he's messing with these people, but there's no way they'd think he's messing with them.
No, they're probably like
when he got kicked out and escorted out by the police for like yelling, they were probably like, "What a brave patriot! Great to know we have a guy like that on our side."
Yeah, like he made the news. There's the local news broadcast showed Joey Janela being escorted out, and then as you brought
that's cool that the local news there isn't being muzzled by their parent company.
And then you brought up Cornette. Cornette was of the belief that Joey actually believed all of this, and then convinced all his people that, oh look, Joey's one of them too. And so
I mean, Joey Janela sucks for reasons, but this is not one of them. And Cornette spinning his audience because he's an idiot is not the right way to go about it.
Yeah. And I guess props to Joey because he announced that he is auctioning off the Florida Man costume, and that he would be donating all of the proceeds of the auction to, hold on, what is it?
Getting Willow Spray's mom a car.
Was it Naral? Naral?
Oh man, I forgot about the Willow Spray mom car controversy.
But Naral, the pro-choice,
It's a charity for whales.
It's a thing that happens on Reddit. When you want to meet a Redditor, you talk about the bacon.
Anyway, it's the pro-choice America fight to protect and expand reproductive freedom for everybody. So, like, that is a good cause to be donating to when making money off of something relating to crazy right-wingers.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Good job, Joe.
Yeah. So that was fun. That was a fun little evening of watching all that transpire. Let's see. Couple more news stories here. Also, so we kind of touched on last week, that AEW was going to be showing off their video game at the 2.0 or 2.0 show with Aubrey Edwards and Allie. We weren't sure at the time what details they were going to show because they only hinted with a boot. But they actually showed some gameplay footage. There's an actual game being made. And it looks way better than that first footage they showed like 7 months ago. Which, when I say that, I mean like the character models. They seem to not be going as cartoony as that first.
The art style has changed.
Yes. The art style has very much changed.
I hated that
they
art
realized
style.
how are we going to do big puffy muscles when we get to guys like Darby?
I think it was more like because I think what they showed there was just like something they quickly whipped up with some CG, and that was like as much as they could put together. Whereas now they have some actual gameplay stuff to show. I will say there's a couple of things I liked that just brought some joy to my heart. The first thing is the hard camera position. Is positioned at the stage like old wrestling games were. I just prefer that. I feel like that's more conducive to playing a pro wrestling video game.
Isn't that how their hard camera is anyway?
I mean, that's how AEW's been for the pandemic, but that's not how it traditionally is.
They should keep it.
Why should they keep it? Like the whole idea of the other camera angle is to show that, hey, we have a crowd here. And the reason that they moved it was because, hey, we don't have a crowd. But now that we have a crowd back, move the camera back. But
I don't know. Put them on the stage. Let the fans sit on the stage.
But I do think that for playing wrestling video games, it just always felt better to see it at that angle, to be playing at that angle. Like, oddly enough, I think that as wrestling video games as the years go on, I want less of a TV-style presentation. Like, for years, the idea was, hey, let's get it as close to looking like TV as possible. And
well, they never did that, so they never accomplished that goal.
But like they've got the presentation like graphics wise, and like it has a little WWE Live in the corner and all that, and like they try to set the camera up like it would look like the TV show. But
yeah, I like that.
I don't know.
Arcade, they have the arcade ones for you already.
Wait, what do you mean?
The one that what is that one that they come out of like on a box falls on the stage and they pop out of it?
Battlegrounds.
Yeah, Battlegrounds. There you go.
But see, I guess I want like an in between. Like I feel like the SmackDown games from basically
like
SmackDown
All-Stars.
2 and like Here Comes the Pain and all of that. Like they didn't. There was an in between. Like I felt like I was playing a fun wrestling match, but also they did the cool effects where I hit a finisher and the word SmackDown would come across the screen, and then it
You
would like
could rotate around the finishing move.
yeah, and it would like slow down and hit 3 times. Whereas I
Why
feel
did they
like
do that on TV?
like
They
that's
can do that.
that's the stuff I want to see. Like honestly, I just want fun, cool presentation to video games now, because that was fun. I don't necessarily need it to look like television because I watch that.
Well, we'll have both
Because like that's the thing
at
about
some
like
point.
yeah. Well, that was the other thing people were pointing out was that like 2 days later, 2K tweeted some stuff about some gameplay stuff. And
They did?
Yeah.
I didn't see any of that.
And it was like, you guys, this does not look far enough along to be ready to play in November.
I mean, they never show anything until last second, but now, like, this... we say this every year.
I think it's
But-
fair that 2K Games has earned their keep here, that we can believe that this is going to turn out just fine.
I mean, if they now have to change all the stages, all the graphics, and it's going to be the smallest roster ever because everyone that they've included is gone.
Oh, I so hope that it has the Thunderdome and they promote it as a feature.
The Thunderdome is like
sure
the
they
only
will.
arena they've shown.
Play in the Thunderdome and the Performance Center.
The one Rey Mysterio trailer is in the Thunderdome,
It's got the Thunderdome stage, but there are fans at ringside.
and it's got the dome.
Yes, but there are fans in it. Like, it's not screens.
This animation doesn't look bad. They just haven't layered textures on it yet. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
They still got some time.
Yeah,
all right?
like I said, the question is just like, isn't this
Look.
game supposed to be coming out in just a few months?
They have some time to release the game as is, and then get it pulled from the store, and then patch it over and over again until no one wants to play it anymore.
Should they release it with no texture?
WWE 2077.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should just release it with no textures as it looks now. Just like you're playing clay models.
Yeah, that would be good because you could pick Superstar 1 or 2, and that way you don't have to worry about like changing Nikki Cross's outfit or removing Braun Strowman or
Like,
all the other people that they've put in the game.
I see no problem with because obviously it says at the bottom of it, gameplay captured from a work in progress build. Obviously, like that's fine. Like that's exactly what AEW did with their game. The only problem is still that you're anticipating releasing this in 3 months or 4 months. When do these games come out?
They are always like that, though. I'm
But,
shocked
like-
that they've put anything out this early.
But what in here makes it look like it's not going to be ready?
I don't know. I mean, I figure when a game is like 3 or 4 months off, we've usually seen more of the game and not.
They don't really ever show WWE games.
WWE
Before, like, they
doesn't,
show
but that's been
trailers.
that's been the problem. Like because when we talked about like that's what used to make the SmackDown game so fun, right? Was that IGN would do the countdown for like 2 months.
Oh, the roster reveal.
The
and
roster
everything.
reveal, right? Where like we'd count down for 2 months and we'd see the wrestler's entrance and their finisher, and like we saw the progress of the game with
That was so fun.
months
I
to
used
go.
to love that shit.
That shit was so much fun.
We
And
always act like, wow, this person got in the game. It's like, no shit. We watched the show. Why are we following this every
But
day?
it
Look
was-
how good the graphics look.
but yeah, no, it was always fucking cool to see like the Brock Lesnar reveal and all that shit. And like we're about a month away from the point we would start seeing that stuff back then, and these are way more obviously like development heavy games.
Yeah, they haven't even announced CM Punk for it yet.
I mean, they showed the Ray footage. It looks like it's coming along quite a bit.
I'm more shocked that they've shown anything because normally they wait until after SummerSlam to show
Because
anything.
like they showed this other footage with like the skeleton models, but that's kind of what you do when you're doing all the animation. Then you just drop your model on top of it. Like that's like zero work from that point.
I guess we'll see what it comes out to be, because I think that they have some work to do, and I hope that they support it with DLC.
So do both games release this year, or just WWE, or neither?
AEW has said they're not releasing this year. They've confidently said like before the end of 2022.
What? They just said in February it'll be out within a year.
I know that Tony Khan, in the interview he just did with the one where he talked about investing in Epic Games, which led a bunch of people to misconstrue that as thinking that Epic Games had anything to do with AEW. But the one where he talked about that, he said that the game will be released sometime next year.
It should come out during Revolution.
I mean, I'm okay with them basically.
Should they do a holiday release, or should they do what some sports games do and come out around your big event?
I think they should just release it when it's ready. Like that's
because when's Double or Nothing is like May, right?
Yes.
Like maybe that's when they should do it. It's exactly 6 months apart from WWE. It's as far away as you can be, and it's tied to when there should be peak interest in your brand, in your show.
Yeah.
Like how golf games come out around the Masters, tennis games come out around Wimbledon. Like come out around your show, not around the holidays.
I always thought it was weird that the WWE games didn't come out around WrestleMania. Like that seems like the right time to do it. Like the Tuesday after WrestleMania, you can get the game, and it includes the stage because they've given them the.
You're buying it for your nephew who you know likes the John Cena.
Yeah.
So you're going into Target to do the Christmas shopping, and you say, Billy likes the Dwayne Johnson Rock, and they go, here's the new game.
Plus, that was always a hard time when you were a poor kid, where you're like, oh, it's November. All the games I've ever wanted to play just came out on the same day.
Yeah, shame I had nothing to play for the last 9 months. Now here's everything.
Yeah, they should space them out more.
Agreed. What else we got? So this was an interesting bit. Ruby Riott did an interview recently where she talked about her name and how everybody assumed that she'd be going back to the name Heidi Lovelace. To which she said, no, I actually hate that name. And that she's never fond of it, that it was a name that was given to her, and that people mispronounced the last name too much, and it was just never...
It's supposed to be Loveless.
There we go.
People don't know that. Everyone's wrong. Everyone says Lovelace. It's supposed to be Loveless.
I said Lovelace, so there we go. And I was just reading the story.
Big-time certified geek over here. Whoa.
Fucking nerd.
But yeah, so that's why she hated it. She said that it's a name everybody gets wrong, and she never liked the name anyway, and that she really is fond of the name Ruby, and that she mentioned how Liv Morgan was trying to push her to go with Ruby Reckless, which I feel like that's very like, what's Ruby Reckless doing in the Impact Zone kind of a name.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and then we could have said exactly that.
What's Ruby Reckless doing in the Thunderdome?
But yeah, now she has apparently gone with Ruby Soho.
What?
That's what she just
like the borough.
That's
doesn't seem like it's the borough, but it's like related to a punk song or something, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what she just changed her Instagram name to. Is Real Ruby Soho is now her Instagram handle, and it says Ruby Soho. So the only problem with that name is that when Paul told me that's what her new name was, I went ahead and looked up the name Ruby Soho, and I'm going to warn you, don't do this at work, because...
Oh, no. I thought she was changing it from Loveless because that was the one that had the pee-porn.
No.
Yeah, I just got a lot of music when I searched it.
I searched Ruby Soho and immediately was just greeted with a whole bunch of ads on Twitter, because there's somebody named Ruby Soho, no PPV.
No PP?
And with the squirt emoji, and... Yeah.
Some people say that's pee.
Well, yeah, so that's actually what it's... I went ahead and looked at her new bio, which says, Mistress, Mommy, Insatiable Slut, Kinky Squirting Switch, Queer Canadian.
How is this going to get her booked in AEW?
I'm just saying, there may be some conflict with the name, and hopefully Ruby is able to do with it what she can, because Ruby Soho, the other Ruby Soho, has 189,000 followers. So it's not as if she's not doing well for herself. She even has an OnlyFans.
Yeah, why doesn't our Ruby do that?
And yeah, lots of vag on your feed. So maybe rethink the name? I don't know.
Or capitalize on that free SEO that the other one's generating.
But yeah, I don't know. As far as the name is concerned, like I get why she wants to stick with Ruby. Though I thought she'd maybe want to stick with some form of alliteration. And didn't.
How about Ruby Booby?
Oh, that's
Google
rhymey.
it. Is that inappropriate?
Depends on who's asking. But I am
Do
going
you
to
spell it Buby?
It's about birds.
Everyone's gonna call her Ruby Bubby, and she's gonna be like, I don't like it. They pronounce it wrong. It's Booby.
Buble.
Apparently there was just like a movie in 2013 called Ruby Booby, but other than that,
Won a bunch of AVN awards. Well, good for Ruby. I hope she lands on her feet or wherever she wants to land, depending on her new career, apparently.
yeah, and I think... Oh, wait, and then the biggest news of them all. I can't believe I skipped over this one. So there's 3 big rumored SummerSlam matches coming our way. We have... Drumroll, please. The rumor is, and it looks like... This is what I suspected was going to be the case, but Edge and Seth Rollins. John Cena and Roman Reigns.
Hell yes.
And Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley.
Is it surprising to you at all that they would do Cena and Reigns now? I mean, I guess with Cena, like, you just have to take him when you can get him at this point.
Yeah.
He's going to be super busy. This is the time to get him. It's weird that they're doing Lesnar and Lashley like in a non-title match because
Drew will be champion. Yeah,
Drew's going to beat Lashley for the title.
Well, so what the thing I find interesting about Cena is going to be, yeah, you mentioned you have to take him when you can get him, because I have a feeling he is going to be even busier, because like when I think about James Gunn as a director, one thing he is known for is
being canceled.
Right.
That too, but
he
also
got canceled into a better career.
Well, what I was going to say
back to his original one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So James Gunn, he has his favorite actors that he very much, and most directors do, but James Gunn does find ones he likes and then like very much sticks with them, to the point of where I could very much see John Cena getting cast in Guardians 3.
Plus he's already put John Cena in a movie and a show with just this one character.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like James Gunn is clearly fond of him, and like when you look at some, like there's multiple actors who are in both Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy, because yeah, once you've got favorites, you stick with who takes your direction best. Like what's his name? Yondu. What the fuck is his actual name?
Michael Rooker.
Yes, Michael Rooker. He's in Suicide Squad. Like it's very clear when you've got a favorite, and so like
how Michael Caine is in like every movie that Christopher Nolan's ever seen.
Yes. And the fact that like James Gunn's already done 2 projects with John Cena, and John Cena like just did an interview where he felt like, he said James Gunn was the closest to working with Vince McMahon that he's ever worked with. He loves James Gunn, and how involved he is with everything. So, like, I have a feeling...
He's pro-gun now.
Yes, John Cena, pro-gun. But, yeah, he's... So, I have a feeling...
Pro-gun, anti-Taiwan.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in Guardians 3 or whatever James Gunn works on after that. Oh, my God, John Cena could be in the MCU.
He should play Horse Thor.
Ray, whatever it is.
Yeah, Beta Ray Bill.
That's it.
So you don't see John Cena's face, but he still gets to be.
If you want him to play a real superhero, he could play John Cena in the MCU.
He just joins the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, we need with fucking knockoff Captain America and White Vision and all that. We need a real hero again.
Oh,
and then just turned to John Cena.
I did just think about the fact that like Dave Bautista mentioned that he like never wants to do a movie with John Cena or The Rock, so that kind of eliminates that.
To keep that conflict away.
Also, he said he's done with Guardians, so
yeah, well,
yeah, he's leaving after a third one.
Yeah, and I get it. He explained that he's not going to do it anymore, specifically because he has to work these movies like shirtless, and he's in his 50s.
He wants to get fat.
I mean, it was not just that, but it's not just getting fat. It's that, you know, to stay in like Drax shape, that's
especially
insane.
as you're getting older.
Yeah, and it's way harder to do in your 50s. I get why.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm only in my
Maxwell.
30s, and I haven't been in Drax shape in a while.
So, like, that's clearly what, like, it makes sense that he doesn't want to play that role anymore. And Marvel's not.
I'd imagine too that he probably just wants to like give his body a break in general. Like he's been jacked for 35 years or whatever at this point.
That's why he doesn't want to work with The Rock, because he'll have to explain to The Rock why he's not jacked anymore. And The Rock's gonna be like, I don't fucking get it, man. All you gotta do is wake up at 3 a.m. clanging and banging.
Doesn't make sense. Don't you have Terramana? Don't you got my Zoe? Don't you got all my products?
But yeah, I think Cena and Reigns will be probably good for
the greatest wrestling match of all time. I agree.
They did that match already, and it was only fine. And back then, Cena was like actually working regularly. Whereas
that doesn't matter.
Roman can carry Cena to a good match.
Because now Roman is the greatest wrestler on the planet, and then you got John Cena, who is the biggest wrestler and greatest wrestler of all time. This is it. This is the match.
I think the good thing is the match from 2017 was mostly forgettable. But the thing people remember about that feud is all the promo stuff.
Yeah, I'm still here because you can't do your job.
And so, like, the promo work will probably be excellent this time around, especially as Roman's a much better character now than he was then. And there's a whole different fan dynamic. Actually, it's probably going to be about the same. But
it'll be a split fan now.
Yes.
Before it was like, we kind of hate Cena, but we're coming around to respect him as he's fading. We hate Roman. Now it'll be, oh, we love John Cena. He was always the best, and we always loved him. And Roman, we're supposed to hate him, but he's so good.
Well, you know what was interesting, though, is that it did turn out to be true. Where after that match ended, John Cena was on Raw Talk, remember? So after the match was ended, John Cena kind of walked away slowly and looked away at the crowd and looked like he was giving a goodbye, and the crowd chanted, "Thank you, Cena." And then he was asked on Raw Talk afterward what that was all about, and he was like, it's not that I'm leaving, but it's that my role is significantly changing here in WWE, and it begins with that match. And I never got what that meant, but given that was 4 years ago, and in those 4 years, you could count on one hand how many matches he's had. Now it makes sense.
I always forget that was on like a random Vengeance pay-per-view that also had like Brock versus Braun on it.
Yeah, No Mercy that year. I don't know why,
that's
but
what it was.
Yeah.
Is that the one where Brock just like wrecked Braun with that shot to the head?
It was the one where the Brock Braun match was actually pretty good. That was the year that like the crowd was like, "Oh my God, push Braun," and then
that was the time to do it, and they didn't.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway.
We're finally going to get what I've been saying for like 3 years, which is John Cena and Roman Reigns is the series finale of pro wrestling.
And then Brock versus Bobby is a match that obviously has been talked about for like 16 years. And but now more than ever is the time to do it.
Lashley's going to need to get a new finish if he wants to win that match. Because he ain't beating Brock Lesnar with a full Nelson.
It's true.
No, Brock's winning.
Yeah,
it's even better.
I'm completely serious.
I also believe you.
Hear me out. Drew's cashing in during the match.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, there it is.
No,
motherfuck.
And then pins Brock, so that way he didn't necessarily compete.
Good thing it is the series finale of wrestling, and then Lashley gets a rematch at the next 4 shows.
And Paul will have to watch all of them because he's the only real wrestling fan.
I know. This is what I signed up for. It's my job.
It's his cross to bear.
And then I think
everybody.
I think Edge versus Seth Rollins is the most interesting to me because
it's new.
It is new. It's very new. It's something that has actually kind of been teased a little bit. Like when you go back, they do have history with each other. There was the whole.
You bring Christian in to talk about it.
They had the moment though where where
Stomp on the
he was
chair
gonna
moment.
he was gonna curb stomp him on the Money in the Bank briefcase, wasn't it? And then Cena reinstated the Authority to save Edge's life.
Shitty storytelling.
No, it was after years of hatred. He was finally. Oh, come on, man. Who better than Edge the Broken to
Who has a better story?
Authority?
But yeah, that was so anyway, I feel like it would be almost like they're similar enough in style and presentation that I think we could, like, obviously not in wrestling style, but I just mean in their entire. But
They both have long hair.
I was gonna say, like, Seth has also been doing the drip thing too, which is fucking awful. And
Yeah, the only person there who should be saying dumb slang is AJ, because he's such a fucking dork that it works. Not in coming across as cool, but in coming across as a fucking old dad dork.
yeah, because I saw the Cap clip and I was even annoyed by that. But
that's not like John Morrison thinking he's cool by saying drip. That's your dad who's like, sheesh, am I doing it right, son? And it's like, that's fine. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So anyway, I do. I look forward to Seth Rollins versus Edge. I wonder what that's going to bring to the table, and yeah, it should be fun.
Probably a win for Edge, who needs it.
Yeah, and then obviously, like, if you tease the curb stomp and how the effects on the neck of that, like, there's a lot you can do with that storyline. And Edge is set to return on July
SmackDown.
16th.
Is that the day I'm going?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I genuinely have no idea when the show is.
Paul goes to see every Edge appearance. It's like
It's
Will
true.
with AEW.
Hey, I'm only going to
3 shows this week.
3 shows this year. For the rest
One's
of
not even a show. It's just a Nightmare Factory training session. I'm just going to watch.
3
With my
shows
popcorn.
the rest of this year. But, like, I mean, it's the thing about their shows is they're cheap, and so it's like I love traveling for pro wrestling.
Are they cheaper than SummerSlam?
Much, and so yeah, like those platinum price tickets for SummerSlam are insane. But SummerSlam is like selling out, so
And it's Vegas. Like, you're going to get the rich tourist crowd, so do
Yeah.
it. That's
like if you
I don't get who's paying $6,000, but people are, so that's what you should be selling them for. That's how supply and demand works.
if you follow my dude WrestleTix on Twitter,
Wrestle tits.
Are you thinking of AEW NSFW?
No, WrestleTix.
AEW NSFW is very catchy, though.
Yes. But WrestleTix was formerly known as AEW Ticket Information, and it was originally just like a Twitter account that just tracked the sales of AEW events.
Man, that was just our group chat
That
for
was
a while.
and that was from like 2 years ago. And then it was. And then as everything started opening back up, the account was basically like, we should probably be tracking like the sales of WWE events. And then they're like, we'll also track Ring of Honor events. And they're like, okay, we're now officially WrestleTix.
And then COVID happened. So
basically
Just turn on the Ring of Honor show and just do a quick head count.
And now basically the whole account is just there to run, which, like, building that kind of software is easy. But they just run a account on Ticketmaster and do some subtraction.
Put it behind Patreon, because that's how you make money on the internet these days.
They
baby.
just opened the Patreon like this week.
I will say I am like super intrigued to see what kind of ticket numbers companies like Impact and Ring of Honor do post-COVID.
I'm very fascinated by it too, because like you look at like WWE and AEW ticket sales, they're both having like some hit or miss cities. Like Tulsa, Oklahoma looks like shit for WWE, and so does I think Little Rock, Arkansas isn't looking good. But at the same time, like AEW's first event,
I wouldn't go to those fucking towns.
but
They're
like
not vaccinated.
Some people
AEW's
live there.
first event isn't looking so hot either, the one in Miami. And that was really like a communication issue because they they initially announced the event as a socially distanced COVID event, that you would have to buy seats in pods, and they'd all be distanced, and that's how the Miami venue was originally sold, and they sold out of that, and then Miami allowed them to go full capacity, and so that allowed them to put all the other seats on sale that they didn't sell, and those aren't selling at all. So
Do you think they have to offer refunds to other people if they want them after that change?
Yes.
Like if you were told, hey, this show's going to be distance, and then they're like, never mind, there'll be people right next to you. I don't know if people are going to take them, but I feel like you probably would legally have to. I mean, they probably did.
I did that because I'm going to that show, and I got my hands on some better tickets, and I thought, I'm not going to sell these. Like, the seats aren't selling at all. And so I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with these other tickets I have? And
you pulled a Janela and said, I don't feel safe here with the dang masks.
That's exactly what I did.
Hell yeah.
And I got my money back. So yeah, I don't know so that one's going to be interesting.
Aren't a lot of these the carryover tickets from last year though?
No, all four of the first four AEW events are all new events.
When are because like all the stuff that got done last year never got canceled, right? All just got pushed.
One of them got canceled.
But mostly people got to keep their ticket. Like they got to choose, like, do you want a refund or do you want to keep a ticket?
Most of them got to
reschedule?
keep them. So like those are the ones happening in September, and then I think
I assume those will do well because they would have had whatever they sold last year. Like most of those people are probably going to have kept them. Plus, you'll get to put on sale again and have the whole press of another ticket sale launch.
And I know I think the Houston event is rescheduled for August, and that's going to be a Dynamite and a Rampage. But yeah, no, it's all mostly looking good though. There are some venues that just aren't selling, but I have a feeling closer to the event they'll probably
wrestling's back, unlike the Olympics with its limited capacity.
Yeah, no.
I think they should just do no fans at the Olympics because that way they can do cinematic events.
Yeah.
Also, that would be accurate.
Cinematic Simone Biles floor routine.
Yes.
Right?
Imagine what kind of stuff she could do if you just gave her 5 hours to do whatever the hell she wanted.
That'd be great.
She's like not the only person on the team, and I'm wondering why. Like, why would you even bother having other people on the team around her?
All right, I know this is probably a dumb question because I'm sure the answer is no. And I'm sure that her hands are very small, so it probably makes it difficult. Do you think she could maybe dunk? I know she's like 4'9".
Oh, but like
when you see
getting
how
the
high
height,
she jumps
yeah,
and she does those flippy doos.
Absolutely.
I feel like if you alley-ooped it to her and she could use both hands, I feel like she would have a chance.
Absolutely, I think she could.
What would her vertical leap have to? How tall is she?
I legitimately think she's like 4'9". I probably my guess is probably not.
The dude who just broke the NBA Combine vertical leap today by a couple inches was 48 inches, so 4 feet.
She's 4'8".
So she's like 4'8". That would be 8'8". Plus her hand above her head adds. It'd be very close, assuming she can jump as high as the record male jump.
What if it's one of those plastic kid?
Oh, the little Tykes hoops with ease,
yeah.
And then pull the whole thing down and dump it on a toddler.
Yeah, and all the water pours out of the bottom.
Oh, you meant one of those? I meant the little one where you just pull the handle on the back and slide the plastic up and down.
Yeah, wasn't there a place to put stuff so it wouldn't just fall over when the wind blew?
You put water in the bottom.
You're supposed to put sand in there.
Yeah.
I think so.
The little Tykes is like the little white and orange plastic one.
Yeah, then there's just a little thing you can just open. You can either pour sand or water in it.
I didn't know that the little one had that.
Yeah,
I know our side of the curb one did. Like a real hoop.
Yeah, I have one of those too. I have one now,
yeah,
and then I had the little Tykes one for my son.
Yeah, these little Tykes ones definitely have a spot to put stuff in.
Little fucking thing. That kid who's shooting the basket in that promotional photo, by the way, could 100% dunk.
Yeah, but he's a white kid, so that's he missed.
This is Simone Biles in the NBA. Yeah, they're promos.
If there's anything I learned about basketball by playing NBA on NBC, that is goaltending. What that girl is doing.
Well, unless somebody threw her an inbound pass because you could not goaltend inbound passes. We learned last night.
Yeah, we learned last night. Yeah. So, but as Eric
These
mentioned,
pictures are great because so many of them are made to look like the kids are jumping, but the hoop's not tall enough. So either it's very obviously photoshopped, or they're just on their toes but doing like a jump pose.
Mm-hmm.
or you just tell the kids jump up and down and then start snapping pictures, and the one where they're both up is the one that you use.
Okay, Matt Gates.
Yeah, you're not going to get one with them both up. You're just going to have to composite it.
Yeah. So yeah, as Eric mentioned, wrestling's back, and that does begin this week. As this week's Dynamite is officially the first with fans back, as far as like this run is
They
concerned.
do one before Double or Nothing?
They did, but I mean, just as far as this run is concerned, like going forward, every Dynamite going forward is live.
I think every week you should say, going forward, starting with this one, they'll have fans.
Because last week, the last 3 weeks did not have fans. This week we'll have fans and is live.
Ever since Andrade showed up, they can't get any fans.
They haven't been live. This week is live, and next Wednesday is live, and then they're going on the road. And then the week after that, WWE does. And it's like,
Thank God.
I think because I've been watching some old shows recently, as I always do, because that's just the thing I do. But I just forgot how much it added to the show to change the setting every week. And even if it's just a little thing, like somebody cutting a promo on "You dumb Texas Hicks," boo, and that was just like a little thing that has been gone. You have not been able to do that at all. And I forgot how good that was and how much fun you could have with that. Like, I was thinking about the Britt Baker line in when they were in Cleveland, where she said, "Congratulations, Cleveland, you finally have a Baker you can trust in," and the crowd booed that.
Damn, because your local bakeries fucking stink.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
classic heel line too.
They don't have a
Precise
Great
local
Harvest
baked
bread
goods.
company in this town.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I forgot what that was like though, to have fans. And maybe this won't even last. I Wear No Pants in the chat says he got SummerSlam tickets for section 115. Good for you. Because I looked at SummerSlam tickets because Vegas is not that far of a drive, and if I flew, it's only like a $25 flight. But those tickets were so pricey.
If they make Cena versus Roman for the title official, I might be in the front row for this show.
Go on.
I might decide this is the last wrestling show I ever care to see. I'll just do it. Make it happen. I don't care. 10 grand? Oh, fuck it.
So for me, I'm just like, I don't know, because like I was in the second row for Double or Nothing, and I paid $200 for that seat, and I've paid that much for like at WWE shows for being probably just off the floor, and so I am having a much better time, and that's why I keep attending shows, because it's like I'm willing to spend the money, but
easier for the pores.
Or I can get more for what you're about to pay for one. But you would do
I
that
might
anyway.
get to see Roman Reigns versus John Cena.
Yeah, well, I'm going to see Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page.
You could have put a non-joke answer in there.
That was not a joke answer.
You could have been like Serpentico versus Luther.
I'm actually looking forward to that.
The cast project explodes.
I'm actually looking forward to that at All Out. I think that
they're doing Serpentico Luther at All Out?
No, they're doing Kenny and Hangman 2.
Well, what's Luther do?
He has a kid?
They're going to tell Luther that he's, you know what, you just stay here at Daly's place.
That'd be great. He's like working a concession stand in costume, and he's like, "They told me they'd be back, and they never come back."
But yeah, because like
then when he dies, they put a statue out because he waited for his original owner for so long.
Like I saw
that Futurama sketch.
There was an article of I forgot what website did it, but it was 5 people who AEW needs to release, and it was
Matt Hardy.
And like some of the
And then
names,
just 4 more pictures of Matt Hardy.
some of the names were like Luther and Leva Bates and like people like that. And I thought,
They don't need to
If you
release
don't
them. They're
see
doing
these
nothing.
people, it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah.
well, yeah. So like the thing is, like Leva Bates also works behind the scenes. She's not just an on-screen talent. I don't even think she's really an on-screen talent at all anymore. And
I mean, she was on screen.
like they,
What talent might be
and then
generous.
somebody said Colt Cabana, but it's like he was also not just hired to wrestle. He was
Colt
hired.
Cabana's like good though.
Yeah, and he was hired as a coach too. Like he's also behind the scenes. Like he's there to help put together matches.
I just can't imagine like somebody being offended by 2021 Colt Cabana, where like he just has solid TV matches and cares. Like if you were like, oh, I hate his indie work from 2015, where he just did 2 comedy spots and then went home, and that was it. Like I could get it, but
Like if Leva Bates was not doing another job, she'd be the right pick of someone to get rid of. Not necessarily because like she's so bad, but because
It's
you're
the
not
guy you're
using
not
her.
using her.
So
Yeah.
clear up that spot and sign someone else.
Yeah,
But Colt's like the little bits I've seen of him in the Dark Order and stuff, he's doing fine. So I don't get why he'd even be on that list.
yeah. And like I said though, he wasn't just hired as an in-ring talent. He was hired to help produce. And I think the only reason he wasn't there from the beginning was because pretty sure Tony Khan like mentioned the top talents he wanted were Chris Jericho, Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and CM Punk, and was probably like, let me hold off on hiring Colt Cabana until I know I can't get CM Punk. And then once like 6 or 7 months went by, and it's like, all right, we're gonna hire Colt Cabana.
and I think Colt was also under that weird like Ring of Honor broadcasting contract or whatever.
Yeah,
He had podcast obligations to fulfill, but now he doesn't do a show anymore.
he does, I think.
No, he ended that show a long time ago.
But I think he's doing something now. I know he's doing something.
Every loser on the internet has a podcast.
I know.
There's too many of them.
But yeah, wait.
Will's realizing you meant
I was
us.
like, wait, we have podcasts?
No, I was looking and I was like, yeah, Colt Cabana has posted like recent stuff. He doesn't do it like a regular podcast anymore, but
He's doing the Wrestling Road Diaries 5, but it's just him at home for the last year.
and he's also been on like Twitch with the AEW.
That's right. He was playing Among Us today with with Evil Uno and Mookie, and who's the dice guy whose name I was trying to think? Cutler.
Brandon Cutler, yes.
I had the Brandon part right.
Yes. No, Brandon Thurston is an excellent wrestling business analyst.
Analyst.
Anyway, folks, let's
Said Dice Guy, and I thought he was playing with Andrew Dice Clay.
Whoa!
Hey,
I'm
we
the
on
imposter
Twitch, but I
here.
like to make the women twitch. Am I right?
I found the body in electrical. Ooh.
I was playing some games on Twitch while making out with a bitch. Oh!
That's actually like a real ADC line, I think.
Yeah, that probably is something that he is like workshopping for
Like,
the comedy stand.
I
when
don't
he's
get
opening
why.
for Rogan.
Whenever you see it, it's just those dumb nursery rhymes that the whole crowd is like memorized and like sings along with.
And they're having the time of their life.
He's just like, roses are red, violets are blue, and he just like holds out the microphone like a singer when they get to the chorus, and they're like, I want to stick it in the hole from which you poo. Oh, and they're all like,
And they're
cheering.
all smoking indoors and smiling as if like we've just compromised to a permanent end Osama bin Laden.
See, we
Good for
need
the dice man.
we need to resurrect Andrew Dice Clay to bring the country back together.
Not sure he's dead.
Yeah, he's still alive. Well, I think what we need
Let's
is like,
resurrect
a
one, too.
unifying
He's a
comedy
hamster
show
in commercials.
with Gallagher, Andrew Dice Clay, and then like the
Dane
hologram of Ralphie May, and then everyone will be friends again.
Yeah, that'll make bipartisan just being neighbors again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, I think I want to read some emails.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for our last segment. Folks, this is
The mailbag.
And we've got some emails. Let's see. We've got this one is from... We'll start with this one from Sean. It's titled Maxwell/Will and Scats if you're there. And he's not, but he can chime
I'm here,
in if
guys.
he wants. And it's titled NBA Conference Finals. He says, now that we're shifting to the conference finals, sorry about your Nuggets and Sixers, let's all finally agree on some things. Harden is overrated despite the injury.
Kiss my ass. That is no. That is no.
He's at 5-17.
No, absolutely not.
5 for 17, 22 points, and his terrible step back, 3 foul draw move, not wanting to touch the ball.
Hamstring injury.
Not wanting to touch the ball in OT, and generally causing havoc in Houston to get bounced in the second round again. KD.
Okay, no, this is a terrible take. I'm sorry. I appreciate listening to our podcast. Absolutely not. The guy was playing through a hamstring injury. Kyrie was injured. It is what it is. I think it's unfortunate they lost, but if you're like being like, I can't, this guy's overrated because he was playing with a strained hamstring that he came back early from to keep his team in the playoffs, and he did not play well in that game. That's a horrific argument.
He also says KD will never get it done without Klay and Steph, no matter how good he thinks he is. Nash and Kyrie are...
What is that? What, like, is this like just like a first take audition?
Says Nash and Kyrie are much better than this, and Kyrie should probably...
Wait, so Kyrie's better than... Kyrie? Do you think Kyrie is better than Kevin Durant?
I just keep freaking.
Has this person watched a basketball game before?
And Kyrie should probably use his player option to get away from this toxic super team. I'm interested to hear how you guys think
stick my head in a microwave if you keep reading this email.
Yeah. Anyway, Sean from Houston.
Sean, what are you doing, man?
Let's see. We got another email. It's titled This or That Name Edition. It's from Kurt. It says, hey guys, on the topic of names, I wanted to play a game of this or that, but this time with names. We all know some guys upgraded in their name changes and some severely downgraded. I wanted to know which ones you guys think are better. Ready?
This is a very cool idea, by the way.
Okay. Tyler Black or Seth Rollins?
I kind of like Tyler Black, but I just don't like the name Seth in general.
I think I like Tyler Black more.
I think because I'm a big one-syllable first name, two-syllable last name guy, I'll be the one to say Seth Rollins.
I think the ideal name would be Tyler Rollins, because I think Rollins is a great sports name.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do you one better. I think his name should be Seth Black. No, Black Seth.
Seth Black would just be a combination of Jack Black and Seth Green. And
yes. I thought you were going to go with
Rogen.
Seth Rogen, yeah. John Moxley or Dean Ambrose? I think John Moxley.
Ambrose.
I like John Moxley. I don't like Dean.
Yeah, and also I feel like Mox has been a great nickname for him, whereas no one's going to call him Amb.
Ambien. Because his promos put me to fucking sleep because he's boring as shit.
John Moxley.
Promos made Roseanne crazy.
So Alexis Lurie or Mickey James?
Oh, Mickey James.
Mickey James. Yeah.
Lurie is just not ending on vowels like that. No bueno.
Miro.
Even though I just said Moxley is good. Just ignore that. It's just a bad name.
Same vowel too.
Yeah, exact same sound.
Miro or Rusev?
Seth.
They're equal to me. I
don't
think.
care. Yeah.
It's about the same.
Rusev sounds more powerful.
Yeah, Rusev fit the old brute gimmick that he was doing originally much better than Miro would have.
Miro sounds like a social media that's going to be really hot for a month and then go away.
Miro sounds like a
invite
Russian
to
guy
Miro.
who has a TikTok of him going to hot clubs, which I feel like fits the current character better. Sounds like Milo.
Jake Hager or Jack Swagger? Jack Swagger all the fucking way.
I have Mile.
Also, how did he never have a move called the Swagger Jacker?
I know.
Or the Jack Off.
Yeah.
Lance Hoyt or Lance Archer?
Lance Archer.
I think Lance Archer is a much better name. Here's a personal one.
Yeah, but his best name was Dallas.
because we might have different opinions on this one. Shane Strickland or Isaiah Scott?
I like Shane Strickland.
I do
because
too.
I just think Strickland is a sports name is good.
Yeah, I think Shane Strickland.
But either way, it's Swerve.
Yes, Swerve is the nickname, but yeah, I think Shane Strickland was better. Again, 1 syllable first name, 2 syllable last name.
Plus, I like the SS. The initials SS. Not. We can edit this.
Pac or Neville?
Neville, only because Pac always makes me think of X-Pac.
And see, I feel like Neville always made me think of navel or like belly buttons, and so
or like Neville Longbottom.
So I
big Harry Potter night.
It's the opposite of like Rusev and Miro, where it's like they're both kind of cool. These both stink.
Yeah, I agree with Eric. I think they're both bad. He should come up with a normal guy name.
Yeah, his next name should just be Tyler Johnson.
Apollo Crews or Uha Nation?
Apollo Crews.
I like both of them, but I think I don't know.
I'll say this: under current gimmick, Uha Nation.
Yes,
because Apollo Crews does not sound like a name with African roots at all. Yeah,
but Uha just sounds funny.
Isn't that his actual name though?
Yeah, I don't know, but it just sounds like what Roman yells before a spear. Whereas Apollo,
I really like Apollo Crews. Like I remember, like when I first heard that name, I was like, "That is a outstanding WWE name."
Yeah,
yeah. But then Crews had to go and do what he did, so now they had to rename him Apollo Harvey Oswald. That was
all because of Scientology, of course.
And you know
Apollo
what?
Bin Laden.
There's only one answer for this one, but Claudio Castagnoli or Cesaro.
Cesaro.
Claudio.
Yeah, Claudio's Castagnoli is a difficult one.
It's too big.
Going similar to him then, Chris Hero or Cassius Ohno?
Chris Hero.
Yeah, Chris Hero.
Oh, that was the story I forgot. Chris Hero, there's a rumor that he may be starting a promotion.
That's all right. We don't need it. Thank you, though.
The story or Chris Hero's promotion?
Both.
Yeah.
Mostly the latter.
I mean, I do feel like with...
can I, by the way, take a victory lap on calling that no one was going to sign him?
Yes, go ahead.
Because that was something that I said that people disagreed with when I said, hey, a lot of people... he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I don't think he has a lot of allies a lot of places. And people said, people are going to sign Chris Hero. Nope.
So I think...
Nailed it.
So the rumors that he is looking to fill kind of that void that Beyond's probably going to leave, in that
He's Beyond closing because Drew's mad that like people aren't buying enough tickets again or whatever.
I think it's void. What void would that leave?
I mean, wait, what is Beyond Joey Ryan's promotion? No,
that was bar wrestling.
That's what it is. Sorry. Bar wrestling.
Say bar rescue.
Yeah, bar wrestling.
Beyond is the company where the promoter gets mad that he like constantly complains that indie wrestling is bad and then doesn't know why people won't buy tickets to his independent wrestling shows.
Yeah, so bar wrestling actually closed. And like the thing is, Joey Ryan did have up until speaking out, he did have a California following and definitely an allegiance of wrestlers that would work those shows. And those wrestlers are like looking for a place to go now.
Well, it sounds like they should have opened up the books and made a call for help to John Taffer.
They should go to or I thought you were going to say Leo Laporte. They should go to a Amazon warehouse and get a job. That's what Braun Strowman would say.
I'd be curious to see what Chris Hero ends up doing.
I'm sure it'll be good. Like I've always enjoyed him as a performer. I just thought the idea of like AEW is going to bring him in and do this. It's like I don't.
Nah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, and what else was there email wise? I think there was. This one from Frank. It's titled AEW and Theme Music. He says, "Hey guys, I just wanted to write about something that's been bugging me about AEW wrestlers' theme music. Why are they so scattershot with it? I swear I've seen Cesar Bononi come out to 3 different themes in the last 2 weeks. Chris Statlander too. Penta comes out randomly to 52 different Lucha Bros or Death Triangle themes as well. Jake Hager last week came out to the barely used Inner Circle theme instead of his normal one. You guys might have more insight on how these companies work. What the hell? Also, Pinnacle members all coming out to the Pinnacle theme, whether it's the whole group or not, is kind of lame. This is the kind of dumb shit you get ruffled by when you don't have better things to do with your time, I guess. Much love, Frank. Okay.
Hey, if we were getting ruffled by dumb stuff, we wouldn't be hosting a podcast about
Yes.
pro wrestling. So respect.
I get both sides of it because I get
Here
what
we go with both sidesing again.
no, like I get what AEW is doing, but I fully understand why it's confusing. In that they use the theme song that's relevant. For example, like Penta. Penta has two theme songs. He has the Lucha Bros theme song and he has the Death Triangle theme song. So it's like if he's doing something related to Death Triangle, then he uses the Death Triangle theme. If he's doing something independent of all of that, he uses his theme. Or he uses the Lucha Bros theme song. Whereas like Chris Statlander, I think ideally they just want her using on TV Where Is My Mind, and I feel like everybody affiliated with Best Friends uses that on TV. That's not a theme they can use on YouTube, so therefore she's going to come out to her own theme when she wrestles on Dark and Elevation. And I think it's just like they're using the theme that's most relevant. Like right now, Pinnacle is in the middle of something and it's mostly Pinnacle stuff, so all the Pinnacle members are just using the Pinnacle theme right now, no matter who it is. But yeah, it is kind of confusing to see that like every time I hear because I'm still not used to the Pinnacle's theme, so when it hits, I'm like, who is coming out right now? And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's FTR, not using Say Yeah. I don't know. I get it. I get why it's confusing, but I also get why they're doing it. But they should be more consistent with things. Like, ideally, a solo wrestler should just use their solo theme.
I think they should turn the volume up because I can't hear their fucking themes on my TV at all.
That's only like a problem on the pre-tape shows, and I feel like that's the only ones you've watched lately because they do put like. But I also feel like WWE has that problem. Like I can't hear any of their stuff over just that like crowd hiss that they put over the show.
That's because everyone's so over.
This is why crowds are bad. They make it so you can't hear the show.
But it's only when it's like not actually there.
Crowds are. We should have quiet shows, respectful like Japan.
But yeah, I don't know. But also, I had something.
I think it's a sound mixing thing, and they just don't do it.
Well, because I feel like on their live shows, it hasn't been that way for like a year. Because I know you had that complaint in the very beginning, but it hasn't been that way in a really long time.
I think it's better than it was then, but I think it could use some work. But whatever, I'll keep watching and see if it gets better.
And also, I don't watch WWE programming, so I think I'm just adjusted to how it sounds. So it could be that.
We know that. I'm the wrestling fan. The Wrestling Fan and His Friends podcast.
And then the final email, speaking of this podcast, is from Stuart. It's titled Former Host.
Look what I can do.
It says,
Yes.
It says, hi guys, congrats on the 16 years. Thank you. We actually celebrated 16 years this past Friday. And then, you know what also celebrated the 10-year anniversary? That video episode we did.
Oh yeah, I saw that on my Facebook when I was deleting all of my profile photos and every piece of information I volunteered to Facebook.
Yeah, it was. We celebrated the 10-year anniversary of the video show.
We didn't celebrate it; it just passed.
It passed. But yeah, that episode is available on YouTube in full. If you ever wanted to see us talking about Capital Punishment 2011.
Oh, R-Truth and Cena?
Yeah, we previewed it on that show.
Not to be confused with Capital Punishment January 6, 2021.
But anyway, he says, congrats on the 16 years. I started listening around the era of Jason, Nick, Paul, and Will. I love how everybody puts it in that order because that's how the theme song had it. He says, on the subject, I was wondering if you knew how Jason was doing these days, as I haven't seen him on any of the social media bubbles like other past and present hosts. I always loved his insight into the golden era of indie wrestling, and he's one of my favorite hosts ever. Thanks for all the years of content. Keep up the great work, Stuart.
He's actually a MAGA guy.
No, don't put that out there. Are you kidding me? The one time
Jason notoriously loved Republicans.
Are you kidding me,
Yeah,
Jason? The one time I accidentally got Green Party and Libertarian confused and called which are polar opposites. They called Jason a Libertarian because he's Green Party. He like chewed my head off. And yeah. Anyway, I actually haven't heard from Jason in a really long time. And that's it. I haven't. He's pretty much the only host I haven't kept in contact with, as a matter of fact. I did for a little while.
His ability to disappear.
Yeah.
He's like largely offline.
Yeah. Good for him.
He could be skinny,
but still offline.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we did have good times with Jason on the show. I can't believe I've been doing the show that long, but your guess is as good as mine. I haven't heard from him in a long time. Like, he's still, I guess, one of my Facebook friends, but he doesn't use it at all. And that, my friends, is RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. Hey, friends, come back next week.
Okay.
These guys will be here, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. I'll be blind tasting vegan food and seafood.
But you won't be able to.
Yeah, that's right. Like, actually, it's a blindfold date, and we get served food, and we can't see it, and we just have to taste it. And it's going to be a fun date night that we're doing next weekend. And then I'll be on vacation the week after that. So
I hate that. I hate not being able to see the food that I'm eating.
You just open your mouth, and people put stuff in there and tell you it's going to be food.
I get that idea, but like when I'm eating, I turn the lights on.
Yeah,
Yes.
I hate eating in the dark.
I'm a big fan of being able to see what I'm about to put in my mouth.
I don't like being in the dark in general. Like, Christina loves to just sit in the dark with no lights on and watch TV. I want all the lights on all the time.
Baxwell comes home from work. She's just like standing in a corner in a dark room staring at him.
Yeah, doing her Blair Witch thing. No, like, I don't know. Like, I even like watching a movie or watching TV. No, put the lights on.
Are you that guy at the movie theater? It's like, hey, turn the fucking lights on.
Yeah,
it's just the previews. Leave them up.
I don't know. Maybe it's like a mental thing, but I like to have as much light on as possible when I'm awake.
I can get that. Corey is very much like a turn the lights out kind of person, and I'm like, I don't know. I like them on, so I get it.
You know who's another big turn the lights off person is the guy from Blink-182.
Oh no.
You know, and he's like, to turn the lights off, carry you home.
Making a joke about. Okay, good.
No, none of them are dead. Oh wait, no, isn't the guy who like was their drummer dead?
No, but one of them just announced that he's going through chemo right now. Like, just announced hours ago.
Oh no, which one?
The one you're making fun of?
Mark Hoppus?
I think so.
Oh, Tom DeLonge.
Oh, is that who Robbie Fox was tweeting about?
Mark is my favorite Blink-182 member because I like his voice.
But his voice isn't iconic like Tom's.
No, but it's better, and that's why Plus 44 was better than Angels and Airwaves.
Wow, take that. The one song Angels and Airwaves had.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks.
That sucks. Oh, now I'm sad.
Yeah, 5 hours
you
ago.
did this.
Mark Hoppus had a... Yeah, that's terrible. Hey, but we'll still be here next week. I shouldn't have said that. That's not what I fucking meant. No, I meant... Well, no, it's not what I meant. I was just going to say that we'll be doing the show next week. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific.
We're going to have to edit this out just like when we edit out what we said about the pores in our Patreon.
Oh, I forgot to edit that.
Shit. God damn it.
That would explain all the unsubscribes.
All right, folks. It is now that time for me to say that is it for this edition of RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. Thanks for joining us. For Paul Griffin, from Maxwell Baumbach, and for Eric Brady, I am William R. Washington. We are the Fatal Four. We'll see you next time, and have a great night. Peace.
I walks up in the club, and the ladies looking lovely. Tried to show some love, but the haters tried to mug me. Walk up to the bar, And I tried to get my drink on, dip on my feet. If you wanna get banged on, pump your brakes, make them shake it. They can't take it. Pump your brakes, make them shake it. They can't take it.
This has been a production of fanoff.com.
And that's perfect.